What is going on, guys? BriarRabbit here. Today is Tuesday. That means it's time to solo the weekly Nightfall strike, one of my favorite times of the week inside Destiny. So let's check out the modifiers. This week we're doing the, what is it called? The Nexus strike. So we've got Epic turned on, heavily shielded and highly aggressive enemies. Light switch is back. We had a brief respite from it last week, but it is back. Angry, minions of the darkness won't flinch, even after massive damage. And solar burn. Solar damage from any source is greatly increased. That's actually really good news for us, because the last time we did the Nexus strike, void damage was turned on, and it was difficult. So Nightfall, of course, was turned on. Let's launch. And while we're flying, I will show you the weapons I'm going to be using, and also give you some recommendations if you don't have the weapons I am using. Alright, so my primary is Vision of Confluence, a weapon I picked up in the raid only recently. It's not very well upgraded. I finally got Zen Moment, but I don't have any of the final damage upgrades. If you don't have that, I'm going to change the build completely, but if you do have that, I'll recommend it. Icebreaker is a great sniper rifle for this. And Hezen Vengeance I'm using. I would love to be using Gjallarhorn if I had a good solar damage sniper rifle. I would be using Gjallarhorn instead of Hezen Vengeance, but I don't. So that is dictating that decision for me. If you don't have Vision of Confluence, then I would choose your best primary, the best primary that you have, and I would put on a heavy machine gun that does solar, such as Swarm, because Shanks are going to give you problems because their shields are big, and you're going to want solar damage to take care of them. You're going to want to be able to take care of massive amounts of enemies in the first encounter quickly, and solar damage is really going to help with that. So I'd really recommend a heavy weapon for the beginning of this, and then you might want to switch over to, or I'm sorry, a machine gun for the beginning. Then you might want to switch over to a rocket launcher later in the strike. But that'll do it. So I'm using a hunter, obviously, since solar damage is turned on. I'm using the gunslinger class with solar grenades and the golden gun, which is very helpful. Let us begin. All right, so we're on Venus. A lot of times when I start this strike, like if I'm doing the playlist, I can't help myself but to go and check all of these doors for chests. Like, I can't help it. And people will think that I am not participating in the strike. I'm going to let them go and do the strike themselves while I farm for materials the whole time. That's not the case. I just want to get the ones that are right on the way there, you know? But because that's really my farming spot for Venus. All right, so this is going to be our first encounter. It starts off pretty easy. These guys are going to come down these stairs. Try and headshot them. You can use these stairs as cover. Be aware that these vandals can shoot down the stairs. Then you're going to get another group of guys that comes down this hallway. Those Shanks were a pain the last time when void damage was turned on. It took so long to kill them. Now that solar damage is turned on, they're much, much easier to take care of because they have solar damage shields. And solar burn is turned on. So what you're going to see a lot of for this encounter is me hiding in this area here. You can use that front set of doors for cover, but they're not as good. You'll find you take a lot more damage. You get to a lot more hairy situations if you try and do that. So I will be using this back area a lot. You want to be careful of the dregs. They can do a ton of damage to you if you allow them to melee you. And there's basically, we're already on our second wave, right? There's basically two areas where they could have spawned. They could have spawned where they are, or over there. If they spawn over there, consider yourself lucky. They're much easier to deal with. When they're over where they are, they're a little more difficult, but you can still pretty much take care of them by shooting over that railing or under it. But it is more difficult than it would have been if they had spawned there. So I'm going to move up a little bit. You can use those boxes right there as cover. Just make sure there's no dregs that are going to sneak up behind you. Where is he? Alright, so our first servitor is destroyed. Our second one should spawn soon. I think he comes around that corner there. And our third one will probably spawn over there somewhere. I believe there is a captain that either spawns with the second or third one, and he is the most dangerous enemy that you will fight in this early encounter. He does solar damage. He's very, very dangerous. You want to stay very far away from him and snipe him. If you've ever watched me do a solo Nightfall strike, you'll know that these are long videos. I play these very conservatively. I feel that the whole point of a Nightfall strike is to not die. And the easiest way to do that is to not take damage. There's our second servitor. I'm going to back off and use Icebreaker to take this guy down. See, a sniper has spawned. And our captain has spawned as well. So if he stays where he's at, he's not that hard to deal with. If he goes over to the right set of stairs, he becomes an absolute nightmare. I really want to take out that sniper. Wait for my health to regen. Where did he go? Was that him? Alright, so the captain is still alive. I was not able to kill him. Let me take out this servitor while he's just sitting there.
Okay, the upper level's open.
So the problem is the captain will use cover very effectively. And his shotgun blasts do a ton of damage to you. But if he comes over to these stairs, he's super easy because he can't shoot you back here, but you can shoot him right in the crotch. So now that he's dead, you know, our greatest enemy for the first half of this strike has been taken care of. You can get some noble vandals. They're slightly dangerous because light switch is turned on. They do melee damage. But you should be able to take care of them before they get close because you got this big wide open area. Sometimes they will hide out on that kind of platform there like he's doing right now. And if you can't get them from here, then what you can do is go into this room over here. And you can get them from over here. But watch your radar that they're not sneaking up on you. Like this little bastard. Alright, so that is the whole encounter until you go into that room there. That doorway is the next place you'll find enemies. But now is a good time to look around for ammo, restock. If you can't find any purple ammo, but you have a little bit left over, I would wait to use it until after you go into that room. And then give it time to regen before you need it again. Or for the timer to wear off before you need it again. Did I go check this room yet? There we go. And this room can be a little bit tricky. I wouldn't say it's necessarily hard, but it's kind of a pain in the neck. My strategy is, well, basically there's two different levels, right? There's the floor level that'll have a couple of shanks on it, and then there's a balcony level up there that'll have a whole bunch of reavers. What I try and do is I shoot a rocket up on the balcony and hope to take out a bunch of those reavers. Sometimes I get all of them. Sometimes I get none of them. Usually I get somewhere in between. And after I shoot that rocket, I'll quickly throw a grenade at the shanks. So I'll try that now. There is not a single reaver up there, and the shanks are gone. So that strategy went poorly. So I will have to deal with all of the reavers. The reason I do that is because the problem with this doorway is that everybody is just shooting at this doorway. Actually, it makes it hard to even come out here and shoot. There's some invisible shanks up there, or some invisible reavers up there. They're a pain. I think I just got all three of them, which was lucky. Yeah, I'll pop my golden gun and see if I can't take care of these guys relatively quickly. If I can find them. Was that it? I thought there were two more. Did I already kill the other two? I guess I did. Alright, so we are pretty much going to end our encounter with the Fallen at this point. There'll be another room with a few more of them, but then we're going to switch over to the Vex. And the Vex are a little more dangerous because a lot of them do solar damage. The Goblins and the Hobgoblins are both doing solar damage, so you got to be careful of them. Coming off this balcony, I like to just jump down this balcony. Usually there's a couple of guys there that I can shoot. I'm surprised the hell out of, but of course they weren't there. Alright, so that's it for the Fallen. Now we're going to switch over to the Vex. I'm actually going to pop a blue polyphage while I'm thinking about it. Get that extra glimmer. Ever since the Iron Banner, I have had no glimmer. Come on out. Alright, so our next room is going to have 3 harpies in it. You're going to want to take these harpies down pretty quickly from this staircase. Take them one at a time. They do have arc shields. Should be another one over there. There he is. Alright, and this is going to be our home base for the next encounter. There's going to be a bunch of goblins over here. There's some minotaurs out here. And there's some hobgoblins, as well as some, I think they call Ascendant Axis goblins that have rocket launchers. Luckily, they're doing void damage. They were really hard when void burn was turned on. Take out these hobgoblins. And let's take out that goblin while I'm looking at him. Alright, and the last thing we really got to worry about... Oh, there's that Axis goblin. We want to take him out. 'Cause he's doing... He's got a rocket launcher. Now we got our minotaurs to worry about. Even though they're doing void damage, they're still powerful. And they'll mess you up. So my strategy for these guys is usually to use rocket launchers on them. I am going to try and use the gold gun. I will switch between these two entrances if they start firing at one entrance too much. But I don't like to get too far away from a doorway in case I need to retreat. And I bet I can clean the second guy up just with Icebreaker and hiding behind these railings here. All right, there we go. So we saved our heavy. We're going to need that heavy. The reason we're going to need that heavy is because our final boss encounter, I'm going to use the cave method, which is difficult on its own. But I am convinced that jumping down this time and trying to fight it out is going to be too dangerous. So watch out for these guys around this corner. Unfortunately, they teleported on me, and if they do, then you're going to want to back up. You don't want to take these guys out slowly. They're doing solar damage, and the group of them can take you out very, very quickly. Usually, those guys are basically, like, no issue at all, but since solar damage is on, you got to be a little more careful with them this time around. I think that was all of them. Usually, what I'll do is walk right into this room with an auto rifle and just start spraying them. But that is not a good idea this time around. Same goes for this next group of goblins, which used to be an awesome farming spot. But in this week's Nightfall is actually quite dangerous. So what I'm going to do is go out just far enough to hook my grenade and then retreat. And take these guys out one by one. You can see how fast they take you down. That's why I'm really going to use the cave method this time, because I don't think I can survive jumping down when they spawn a bunch of goblins and hobgoblins. I think they'll just take you down too quickly. To survive. When void damage was turned on, I actually used that for my solo strike. I jumped down, I used that back area, and I was successful at it, but this time around, I'm not even going to try it. So this is going to be our cave. This is the cave method. If you're not familiar, the biggest problem with the cave method, there's two big problems with the cave method. The first one is a Minotaur that will spawn over here, come around this corner, and basically by the time he's here, you need to have him dead, because he will kind of warp the rest of the way toward you and melee damage you and kill you with light switch. So that is the biggest problem, right? Is you got to be constantly aware of this guy spawning, and you got to take him down very quickly. Basically, by the time he gets here, he's got to be dead. The second problem is that the boss will be doing splash damage, and you can see there's a low roof here. So anytime you're in this vicinity, he can be doing splash damage to you and hurting you. So it's a dangerous method. You know, it's not a great method, but it's the one we're going to try. So to start the encounter, you got to kill some Minotaurs down here. They're a little bit crafty. Sometimes they'll hide, sometimes they won't. Two of them. Once you kill two of them, some more will spawn. Once some more spawn, you got to start watching for this Minotaur. He comes once every minute or so. Make sure that you have heavy ammo. Make sure your rocket launcher is loaded. It takes 3 golden gunshots to kill him. There he is. And you got to kill him quick. Like, no joke, got to kill him quick. So I'll be alternating between heavy and golden gun to kill him, because my golden gun will not charge fast enough. Alright, so now we have Minotaurs down here. took one out, I believe. Yeah. But now I'm just waiting for this Minotaur. The secret to success for this cave is to kill this Minotaur quickly. If he gets out of there and he starts spawning like he just did, he can be a nightmare. You really want to kill him faster than I just killed him. And he is, without a doubt, the biggest issue you're going to have here. Alright, so let's take out another Minotaur. Hopefully we can kill one before this guy spawns. There he is. Alright, if you're lucky, he will occasionally drop ammo for you. We're not so lucky. So we're going to use heavy ammo synthesis. And if we have to, we'll have to start using icebreaker against him, which is not going to be easy.
It's opening.
Alright, so the Nexus is now opening. That's good. But by the time that thing gets open and we can start doing stuff, this guy's going to be back, so I'm just going to be ready for him. And the golden gun takes him out pretty quickly, and luckily for us, he spawns some heavy ammo. That's very good. We'll pick that up next time we need it. And we can start doing damage on this guy now. Can't do too much at a time, though, I'll tell you that, because splash damage is going to come hot and heavy. This guy is going to come up behind you frequently. And you will die. If this guy starts warping, he is a major problem. Did he die already? Okay, that was a quick one. That was only 2 rockets. I must have direct connected with both rockets. Keep an eye on your health bar. Keep an eye back there. You don't want him to start warping around. And it doesn't take long for him to come back. Is he dead? I think he is. Let's put some damage on our boss. You see, it's just it is a hard method. I'm already looking for this guy. He's dangerous. The boss is dangerous with the splash damage. There we go. Did he die? Good. Alright, we'll put some damage on the boss. He's about half dead, it looks like. And I forgot to reload after I killed him last time. And I was really hoping my golden gun would be charged by now. I got 2 rockets left. Okay, let's put some damage on the Nexus. And back off and get ready. What we're gonna do is actually use the golden gun this time around. So I'm gonna get a little closer actually. Alright, hopefully he drops some purple ammo. He did not. That's bad news for us. This time I'm going to actually try and huck a grenade at him. That did not work. So we are out of heavy. This is a big problem for us. Let's see if our timer is up. We got a minute left, so we are going to have to take this guy down with the sniper rifle. Which means I'm not going to do any damage to the Nexus this time around because I want to make sure I have enough ammo. And this is going to be tough. I will huck a grenade at the beginning. As soon as he shows up, I'll huck a grenade. If we can make it past this one, this spawn of the Minotaur, we can probably get our heavy ammo back. Man, that was nasty. So hopefully we can regen our ammo. I don't know, how long was that? Like 30 seconds? Nice. So that helps. I've never liked this method. I never have. I've done it before, but I've never liked it. It's just so dangerous. It was more dangerous, I think, when this Minotaur was doing void damage and the boss was doing void damage and void burn was turned on. It was more dangerous then. That was a miss. Alright, so let's reload. Let's try and take out this Nexus bastard. I am almost dead. I'm going to take one more shot at him and get ready. That was awesome. Alright, so let's reload. Alright, I got golden gun for the next time around. That's good. Nice. Alright, that is the end. So that is the that is the Nightfall for this week, guys. It's actually, as far as Nightfall strikes go, it's not too bad because the solar burn modifier is really working in our favor. I got a couple of bounties for that. That was nice. But that last boss is the big issue. You know, using that cave method, it can be done. You got to be ultra careful though of that Minotaur, and you got to be aware that the boss is doing splash damage to the top of that cave. Jumping down here, I don't know if it's going to be possible this week. I'm sure somebody will get it done solo. That's how I did it when void damage was. I basically used this area back here. Well, it's too late now. All right, so let's see what we got. I'm really hoping for Hawkmoon. Come on, Hawkmoon, baby. Hawkmoon. What the hell is that? The Red Hand 9. I think this is a garbage gun. Damn it! I want Hawkmoon! I was so close, I got a hand cannon. Okay, guys, I'm back, and I wanted to show you this alternate strategy for beating Secrion here. So, this is with my alternate character. He is a Titan, and he has no problem making this jump right here. It's a tough jump for other characters, especially my Hunter. I was not able to get here in that manner with my Hunter, but I'm about to show you how I did do it with my Hunter, and this is a fantastic cheese spot. I think it's better than hanging out in the cave because you don't have that Minotaur. Alright, so here's my Hunter. I tried jumping up there from the side like this. That wasn't working. Pycap said, hey, over here, you got to jump to this pillar and then over. So that's what I did. It was pretty easy. If I had done it before Secrion showed up, I wouldn't have taken so much damage getting there. But as you can see, once I'm here, it's a great little cheese spot. You can do a ton of damage to this guy. You hide behind that wall I'm looking at. Pycap does a better job than I do. I wasn't as familiar with the spot, but if you crouch behind that wall, you won't take splash damage from the boss, Secrion there. And you're protected from the goblins and the hobgoblins that spawn in and are shooting up at you. So it's a really good spot. It's pretty safe. It's much, much easier than having to worry about that Minotaur up in the cave. And I really thought this was a nice spot. I definitely wanted to show it to you guys in case you were having trouble with this week's Nightfall. So that's going to do it for real this time. That's going to be the actual end of the video. You know what? One more time. You know what? I'll show you the reward I got for running through the Nightfall with my alternate character. We actually joined in on one of PyCap's friends who had already started the Nightfall solo. We got some fresh dance moves in. We used that same spot, which was so effective. And I got a really interesting helm for my Titan. Something that I actually wasn't that familiar with. And here you can see it. Somebody got the shadow price, an insurmountable skull fort. This thing's pretty badass looking. It reminds me of like a Daft Punk helmet, and it's got like a face kind of hidden behind it. It's really kind of cool. I thought it was a nice reward for doing the Nightfall for the second time. And that's going to do it. So thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.